St. Gallen, Alten Rhein Airport, Wahlkreis Rorschach. MSFS Enhanced Airport. St. Gallen, Alten Rhein Airport is a small airport in Alten Rhein in the canton of St. Gallen, Switzerland near Lake Constance. It is the home base for People's Airline.
I am reviewing nearby scenery and selecting places that should be recognized.
St. Gallen Alten-Rhein Airport, LSZR. This is a regional airport serving the St. Gallen area, known for its proximity to the lake and its role in business and general aviation. The airport was established to support regional connectivity and has grown to accommodate both private and commercial traffic. It is famous for its scenic location, nestled between the mountains and the lake. Ensure you have reviewed the current NOTAMs and local noise abatement procedures before departure. Monitor the tower frequency closely while taxiing. You are currently on the taxiway of this facility. Identify it by the single paved runway running roughly east-west and the adjacent terminal buildings. You are currently at the airport. As you taxi, the terminal is to your immediate left. Departure will require a turn toward the lake or the mountains, depending on your flight plan. Practice your ground maneuvering and ensure all checklists are complete before reaching the runway holding point.
Fuck me. That was an accident. The runway isn't super smooth.
St. Gallen, Alten Rhein Airport, Wahlkreis Rorschach. MSFS Enhanced Airport. St. Gallen, Alten Rhein Airport is a small airport in Alten Rhein in the canton of St. Gallen, Switzerland near Lake Constance. It is the home base for People's Airline.
Rhine Delta Nature Reserve. The Rhine Delta is the largest wetland area on Lake Constance and a critical habitat for migratory birds. It features extensive reed beds and alluvial forests that are protected for their ecological importance. The delta was formed by the sediment deposits of the Rhine River over millennia. Efforts to regulate the river in the 20th century significantly altered the landscape, leading to the current protected status. Avoid Lindau Island. Lindau is a historic Bavarian town located on an island in Lake Constance, connected to the mainland by a bridge and a railway causeway. It is famous for its picturesque harbor entrance, guarded by a lighthouse and a lion statue. The island has been inhabited since the Roman period and served as a strategic point for trade across the lake. It was a free imperial city for centuries, preserving much of its medieval architecture. Ensure you remain well clear of the island's center and respect minimum safe altitudes over populated areas. Avoid low-level maneuvers near the harbor. Identify the island by its distinct shape and the prominent harbor entrance marked by the large stone lion and lighthouse. With your current heading of 278 degrees and ground speed of 233 knots, Lindau is positioned to your right front. You will pass a beam-this landmark in approximately 2 minutes. The approach to Lindau from the east provides excellent photo opportunities, but be mindful of the proximity to the Friedrichshafen Airport traffic area. Bregenz. Bregenz is the capital of the Austrian state of Vorarlberg, situated on the eastern shore of Lake Constance. It is world famous for its annual Bregenzer Festspiel, featuring a massive floating stage on the water. Friedrichshafen. Friedrichshafen is a major city on the northern shore of Lake Constance, world-renowned for its deep connection to aviation history and the development of Zeppelins. The city was heavily bombed during World War II due to its strategic industrial importance, particularly the Dornier and Zeppelin work. Zeppelin Museum Friedrichshafen. This museum houses the world's largest aviation collection dedicated to the history of Zeppelin airships. It is located directly on the waterfront of Lake Constance. The museum was opened in 1996 in the former Harbor Railway Station. It features a life-size reconstruction of a section of the Hindenburg airship. Remain clear of the city center at low altitudes. Ensure you are at a safe altitude above the urban area. Zeppelin Museum Friedrichshafen. This museum houses the world's largest collection dedicated to the history and technology of airship aviation. Housed in the former Harbor Railway Station, the museum features a full-scale reconstruction of a section of the LZ-129 Hindenburg. It serves as a cultural anchor for the city's identity as the home of the Zeppelin. Observe minimum safe St. Gallen Altenrhein Airport, a regional airport serving the Lake Constance area, known for its proximity to the water and the Austrian border. The airfield was established in the mid-20th century and has since served as a vital link for business and tourism in the Rhine Valley. Monitor the local frequency for traffic advisories and maintain a safe distance from the airport's traffic pattern. Look for the distinct paved runway running parallel to the southern shore of Lake Constance, easily identified by its proximity to the water. At your current heading of 148 degrees and altitude of 2,704 feet, the airport will be visible off your right wing as you continue your climb. Use the shoreline of Lake Constance as a primary navigation reference to orient yourself toward the airport.
Schwarzach in Vorarlberg Railway Station. Schwarzach in Vorarlberg Railway Station, German, Bahnhof Schwarzach in Vorarlberg, is a railway station in the municipality of Schwarzach, in the district of Bregenz, in the Austrian state of Vorarlberg. It is located on the Vorarlberg line of Austrian Federal Railways, OBB. Bildstein. Bildstein is a municipality in the district of Bregenz in the Austrian state of Vorarlberg.
Bregenz. Bregenz is the capital of the Austrian state of Vorarlberg, situated on the eastern shores of Lake Constance. It is world-renowned for its annual Bregenz Festival, which features a spectacular floating stage on the water. The city has deep roots dating back to the Roman era, when it was known as Brigantium. It became a significant medieval trade hub and has evolved into a cultural center known for its unique blend of historic architecture and modern design. Maintain a safe altitude above the city center and avoid overflying densely populated areas directly. Monitor the local Bregenz frequency for any traffic advisories. Look for the prominent floating stage structure on the lakefront and the dense urban grid nestled between the mountains and the water. At your current heading of 83 degrees and speed of 157 knots, Bregenz will appear slightly to your left in approximately 2 minutes. Follow the shoreline of Lake Constance to navigate toward the city, which provides a clear and unmistakable visual reference point. Dornbirn. Dornbirn is the largest city in the Austrian state of Vorarlberg, serving as a major commercial and cultural hub. Historically an agricultural and textile center, it has evolved into a modern city while preserving its traditional alpine architecture. Be aware of the surrounding mountainous terrain and potential downdrafts near the slopes. Identify the city by its large urban footprint, extending from the valley floor up toward the steep slopes of the Cairn Mountain. Dornbirn is situated slightly to your right. At your current ground speed, you will be passing the city center.
Dornbirn. Dornbirn is the largest city of Vorarlberg, nestled in the Rhine Valley. It serves as a major commercial and industrial hub while retaining a charming alpine atmosphere. Historically a market town, Dornbirn grew rapidly during the Industrial Revolution due to its textile industry.
Bregenz. Bregenz is the capital of Vorarlberg, situated on the eastern shores of Lake Constance. It is world-renowned for its annual Bregenzer Festspiele, featuring a massive floating stage on the lake. The city has roots dating back to the Roman era, when it was known as Brigantium. It grew significantly during the Middle Ages and became a key cultural
Oberstdorf. Oberstdorf is a famous market town and a major center for winter sports and hiking in the German Alps. First mentioned in the 12th century, the town grew significantly due to its strategic location in the Iller Valley and the development of tourism in the 19th century. Maintain a safe altitude above the town and respect local noise abatement procedures. Look for a dense cluster of traditional Bavarian architecture nestled in the valley floor, surrounded by high peaks. Kempten, Aargau. Kempten is one of the oldest cities in Germany, boasting a rich history that dates back to the Roman settlement of Campbell-Dunham. It serves as the economic and cultural hub of the Aargau region. Originally a Roman city, Kempten later developed into a dual city structure with a Prince Abbey and a free imperial city, which remained separate for centuries until they were unified in the early 19th century. Maintain a safe altitude of Hohenschwangau Castle, the childhood residence of King Ludwig II, located just below Neuschwanstein. It is a yellow-walled castle that offers a distinct contrast to its more famous neighbor. Originally built in the 12th century, the castle was reconstructed in the Gothic style by King Maximilian II in the 1830s. It served as the royal family's summer residence for many years. Ensure you remain well clear of the castle grounds. Observe all local minimum safe altitude requirements for populated areas. Identify this landmark by its distinct yellow facade and position on a lower hill directly adjacent to the Alpsee Lake. It is situated slightly lower and to the west of Neuschwanstein. With your current descent profile, this castle will be visible on your right side. You will pass the area in roughly 2 minutes. The nearby Alpsee provides a great reference point for navigation in this area, but keep an eye on your vertical speed during your descent.
Oberstdorf. Oberstdorf is a municipality and skiing and hiking town in Germany, located in the Allgäu region of the Bavarian Alps. It is the southernmost settlement in Germany and one of its highest towns. At the center of Oberstdorf is a church whose tall spire serves as a landmark for navigating around town. The summits of the Nebelhorn and Feldhorn provide dramatic panoramic views of the Alps.
Oberstdorf.
The Nebelhorn can be reached
Oberstdorf
with
is a
big
famous
cable
market
car.
town in the Allgäu
Visitors can
Alps,
ride a unique
known for its
diagonal
winter
elevator
sports
to the
and
top
hiking
of the
trails.
Heinz-Klopfer
It serves as a gateway to the surrounding high alpine peaks. The town has a long history as a mountain farming community before evolving into a premier health resort and sports destination in the 19th century. Maintain a safe altitude above the town and respect local noise abatement procedures. Look for a dense cluster of traditional Bavarian architecture nestled in the valley. Nebelhorn. The Nebelhorn is a prominent peak in the Allgäu Alps, offering panoramic views of over 400 summits. It has been a focal point for alpine tourism since the construction of the Nebelhorn cable car in the 1930s. Ensure you maintain adequate terrain clearance as you navigate near high alpine peaks. Identify the peak by the distinct cable car station structure at the summit and the steep, rocky northern face. The peak is slightly to your left of your current 180-degree track, arriving in roughly 2 minutes. The Nebelhorn serves as an excellent landmark for orienting yourself within the Oberstdorf Valley Basin.
Nordliches Hallhorn. Nordliches Hallhorn is a mountain of Bavaria, Germany. Rollerheck. Rollerheck is a mountain of Bavaria, Germany.
Ansbacher Hütte. This high-altitude mountain refuge is situated on the Flerschjoch, serving as a vital waypoint for hikers traversing the Eagle Walk. Established in the early 20th century, the hut has been expanded several times to accommodate the growing number of alpine trekkers exploring the central Lechtal Alps. Be aware that mountain huts are often located in saddles or on ridges, where wind speeds can be significantly higher than in the valleys. Identify a small, dark-roofed structure nestled in a high mountain saddle between two prominent Ehrenberg Castle ruins. Ehrenberg is a massive fortress complex consisting of several ruins perched on the hillsides overlooking the valley. It is one of the most important historical fortifications in the Tyrol region. Founded in 1296 by Count Meinhard II of Tyrol, the castle was designed to control the important trade route between Augsburg and Italy.
Ehrenberg Castle Ruins. The Ehrenberg Castle Ensemble is a massive fortification complex perched on a steep hill overlooking the valley. It is one of the most significant historical defensive structures in the Tyrol region. Constructed in the 13th century by the Counts of Tyrol, the castle was strategically positioned to control the trade routes through the Fern Pass. It saw numerous military conflicts over the centuries before falling into ruin. The terrain around the ruins is steep. Ehrenberg Castle Ruins. The Ehrenberg Castle complex is a massive fortification system that once controlled the vital trade routes through the Alps. It includes the main castle, the fortress on the hill, and the Claudia Fort. Constructed in the 13th century by the Counts of Tyrol, the castle was a strategic stronghold for centuries. It saw significant action during the 30 Years' War and remained a military post until the 19th century. The ruins are located on a steep hillside. Ensure you maintain adequate clearance from the rising terrain to the east of your flight path. Identify the stone walls and towers perched prominently on the wooded ridge overlooking the valley pass. The ruins are located slightly to the right of your current 49-degree heading. You will be abeam the site in less than a minute at your current ground speed. The site is best viewed from a slight offset to the east, allowing you to see the strategic placement of the fortress relative to the valley floor.
Ehrenberg Castle Ruins. The Ehrenberg Castle Ensemble is a massive fortification complex dating back to the 13th century. It served as a strategic stronghold guarding the trade route between Augsburg and Italy. Founded in 1296 by Count Meinhard Roman II of Tyrol, the castle saw numerous military conflicts and sieges over the centuries. It was eventually abandoned in the 19th century and is now a protected heritage site. Maintain a safe altitude above the ruins as the terrain rises sharply behind the site. Observe local noise abatement procedures. Look for a prominent hilltop fortification with stone walls and a distinct tower structure perched on the ridge overlooking the valley floor. At 4,429 ft and a heading of 133 degrees, the ruins will appear to your right front at approximately 2 o'clock. You will reach the vicinity in about 30 seconds. Follow the Lech River Valley southwards for a scenic route that provides excellent visual references for navigation. Fern Pass. The Fern Pass is a high mountain pass in the Tyrolean Alps that connects the Inn Valley with the Loisach Valley. Historically, this route was a vital link for trade between the Roman province of Rhaetia and the north. It has been used for centuries as a primary transit point for merchants and travelers crossing the rugged alpine terrain. Maintain a safe altitude above the pass peaks Watch for downdrafts near the ridgelines. Look for a distinct low point in the mountain range, characterized by several small, deep blue alpine lakes like the Fernsteinsee. At your current heading of 171 degrees and 5,933 ft, the pass will appear slightly to your left port side in approximately 2 minutes. Follow the valley floor leading toward the pass, but ensure you have sufficient terrain clearance before entering the narrow gap. Stams Abbey. Stams Abbey is a Cistercian monastery founded in 1273, famous for its impressive twin-towered basilica and its role in Tyrolean history. It was established by Count Meinhard Roman II of Gorizia, Tyrol, and serves as the burial place for many members of the Tyrolean princely family. Ensure you maintain adequate terrain clearance while maneuvering near the valley walls. Monitor your vertical speed closely during this approach. Identify the monastery by its prominent twin onion-domed towers that stand out against the valley floor, located on the northern side of the N River. With your current heading of 97 degrees and ground speed of 232 kT, the Abbey will appear ahead and slightly to your left in roughly 3 minutes. The Abbey is a perfect waypoint for transitioning through the Inn Valley. Use the river as a primary navigation reference to stay centered in the valley. Reeth Bay Seefeld. Reeth is a charming, traditional village located on the eastern edge of the Seefeld Plateau. It offers a quieter, more rustic atmosphere compared to its larger neighbor, Seefeld. The village has deep roots in alpine agriculture and forestry, with records dating back to the medieval period. It has preserved much of its traditional Tyrolean architecture, characterized by wooden balconies and flower-adorned facades. Be mindful of the rising terrain to the east and south. Keep a close eye on your vertical speed during your approach to ensure you maintain adequate terrain clearance. Identify the village by its compact layout nestled against the base of the Riederspitze mountain. The church tower is the most distinct vertical feature in the village center. With your ground speed of 218 kT, you will pass a beam reef in approximately 1.5 minutes. It will be located to your right as you continue your southeasterly descent. Follow the valley floor contouring towards the east for a scenic route. This area provides a great vantage point for observing the transition from the high plateau to the steep drop-offs of the Inn Valley.
Is the highest peak of the Wetterstein Mountains as well as the highest mountain in Germany. It lies south of the town of Garmisch-Partenkirchen, and the Austria-Germany border runs over its western summit. South of the mountain is the Zugspitzplatte, a high karst plateau with numerous caves. On the flanks of the Zugspitze are 3 glaciers, including the 2 largest in Germany, the northern Schneeferner with an area of 30.7 hectares and the Holland-Talferner with an area of 24.7 hectares. The third is the southern Schneeferner, which covers 8.4 hectares.
Zugspitze. The Zugspitze is the highest mountain in Germany, standing at 2,962 meters above sea level. It is a major destination for winter sports and summer hiking, featuring a famous summit cross and observation platform. The first recorded ascent was made in 1820 by Joseph Naus. It has since become a symbol of the German Alps and a hub for alpine tourism, accessible by both cable cars and a rack railway. Maintain a safe distance from the summit and the cable car lines. Observe minimum safe altitude requirements over the peak. Look for the prominent, jagged limestone peak topped with communication towers and a large observation deck. At your current altitude of 9,571 ft and heading of 299 degrees, the Zugspitze is located to your left front. You will pass it in approximately 30 seconds at your current ground speed. The area around the Zugspitze is popular for VFR traffic. Keep a sharp lookout for other aircraft and paragliders in the vicinity. Reeth Bay Seefeld, a charming, smaller village located on the southern edge of the Seefeld Plateau. It offers a quieter perspective of the surrounding alpine landscape. The village has deep roots in alpine agriculture and forestry, maintaining its traditional character despite the growth of tourism in the region. Ensure you remain at a safe altitude to avoid noise disturbance and comply with local regulations. Monitor your descent rate carefully as you approach the valley floor. Identify the village by its compact layout and traditional Tyrolean architecture. Situated on the slopes overlooking the valley below, Reeth will be visible to your right front quadrant. Given your 301 kT ground speed, you will pass the village in less than a minute. Follow the valley contours to the south for a scenic route toward Innsbruck, keeping the mountain ridges to your left. Searles Mountain. Searles is a prominent mountain peak often referred to as the High Altar of Tyrol due to its striking, symmetrical appearance. It stands as a sentinel over the entrance to the Stubai Valley. The mountain has long been a subject of local folklore and religious significance, with its distinct shape inspiring many artists and poets. It remains a popular destination for mountaineers seeking challenging terrain. Be aware of potential turbulence when flying near the leeward side of the peak. Ensure you maintain sufficient terrain clearance at all times. Identify the peak by its sharp, triangular profile that stands out clearly from the surrounding ridgeline. It is one of the most recognizable silhouettes in the region when viewed from the north. Given your heading of 191 degrees, this peak will be located to your left port side as you continue your southerly descent. You will pass abeam the mountain in roughly 2.5 minutes. The peak serves as a perfect waypoint for transitioning from the Inn Valley into the Stubai Valley. Use it to verify your position relative to the Innsbruck approach corridor. Stubai Glacier. The Stubai Glacier is the largest glacier ski area in Austria, offering year-round snow and breathtaking alpine vistas. It is a central hub for winter sports enthusiasts and mountaineers. Development of the area as a ski destination began in the early 1970s, transforming the high-altitude glacial basin into a world-class resort. It has since expanded significantly to include modern lift systems and infrastructure. Maintain a safe altitude above the peaks. Winds can be unpredictable near the ridges. Always observe local airspace regulations and minimum safe altitude requirements. Look for the expansive, bright white ice fields surrounded by jagged, dark rock peaks. The lift stations and groomed runs appear as distinct geometric patterns against the snow. At your current altitude of 10,043 ft and heading of 108 degrees, the glacier will be visible to your right side. You will reach the closest point to the main summit area in approximately 1.5 minutes. Use the distinct contrast between the white glacier and the surrounding gray rock to navigate through the valley. It is a perfect landmark for orientation in the Stubai region. Innsbruck Airport Lowy. Innsbruck Airport is the largest international airport in the Tyrol region, nestled deep within the Inn Valley. It is famous for its challenging approach due to the surrounding high peaks. The airport opened in 1925 and has since become a critical hub for winter sports tourism. It has hosted various international events and remains a primary gateway for alpine travel. Monitor local ATC frequencies closely as you descend into the valley. Maintain awareness of the steep terrain and observe all minimum safe altitude requirements for the area. Look for a long, paved runway oriented east-west located on the valley floor. The terminal buildings and apron area are situated on the north side of the runway. At your current altitude of 8,970 ft and heading of 73 degrees, the airport is approximately 6-7 nm ahead and slightly to your right. You will reach the vicinity in about 1.5 minutes at your current ground speed. The valley approach is visually stunning. Keep your eyes peeled for the Nordket mountain range rising sharply to the north of the airport.
Innsbruck Airport, Innsbruck. MSFS Enhanced Airport. Innsbruck Airport, also known locally as Kranenbitten Airport, is the largest international airport in Tyrol in western Austria. It is located approximately 4 kilometers from the center of Innsbruck. The airport, which was opened in 1925, handles regional flights around the Alps, as well as seasonal international traffic to further European destinations.
Golden Roof
During the
Boating
winter,
Station.
activity
Golden Roof
increases
is the most
significantly
famous
due to the
landmark
high
in
number of
Innsbruck's old
skiers
town,
traveling to the
featuring
region.
a balcony roof covered in 657 gilded copper tiles. It was commissioned by Emperor Maximilian I to commemorate his wedding. Completed in 1500, the building served as a royal box from which the emperor could observe festivals and tournaments in the square below. It stands as a symbol of the city's rich imperial heritage. This is a low-altitude urban area. Maintain a safe altitude above the city center at all times to comply with noise abatement and safety regulations. Identify the dense, historic red-roofed buildings of the Old Town. The landmark is centrally located within the grid of narrow streets, distinguished by its glittering roof. The landmark is currently located almost directly ahead of your flight path. Given your high speed, You will pass over the city center very quickly. Keep your eyes focused on the urban core. The old town is best viewed from a distance. Consider circling at a safe altitude to appreciate the layout of the city against the backdrop of the Alps. Innsbruck Airport Lowy. Innsbruck Airport is the largest international airport in the Tyrol region, known for its challenging approach through mountainous terrain. Opened in 1925, the airport has served as a vital hub for both commercial traffic and winter sports tourism in the Alps. Be mindful of the steep terrain and potential downdrafts near the mountains. Maintain safe altitude. Look for the long asphalt runway situated in the valley floor, surrounded by high peaks. At your current heading of 269 degrees and 3,651 ft, the airport is located behind you to the right. You will pass it quickly at 224 kT. Follow the Inn River Valley for a scenic and safe departure route away from the high peaks. Innsbruck Airport Lowy. Innsbruck Airport is the largest international airport in the Tyrol region, nestled deep within the Inn Valley. Opened in 1925, the airport has grown significantly to serve as a primary gateway for winter sports enthusiasts and mountain tourism. Be aware of complex mountain wave turbulence and strict noise abatement procedures in the valley. Look for the long, paved runway oriented east-west, situated directly between the city and the northern mountain range. At your current altitude of 4,905 ft and heading of 341 degrees, the airport will be located to your right front. You will pass Sabine the field in approximately 1 minute at your current ground speed. The approach into Innsbruck is world famous. Enjoy the view of the city skyline and the Nordcat Mountains as you navigate the valley. Innsbruck Airport Lowy. Innsbruck Airport, also known as Kranebitten Airport, is the largest international airport in Tyrol, Austria. It is renowned for its challenging approach due to the surrounding high alpine terrain. The airport opened in 1925 and has since become a critical hub for winter sports tourism in the Alps. It is famous for hosting the Winter Olympics twice, in 1964 and 1976. Be aware of significant downdrafts near the mountains. Maintain safe altitude and monitor wind conditions closely. Look for the long, paved runway nestled in the valley floor, surrounded by dense urban development and steep mountain slopes. At your current heading of 124 degrees and 248 kT, the airport will appear off your left wing in approximately 1.5 minutes. Follow the Inn River Valley for a scenic approach, but stay clear of the restricted mountain airspace to the north. Pacherkofel is a prominent mountain south of Innsbruck, standing at 2,246 meters. It is a popular destination for skiing and hiking, offering panoramic views of the Inn Valley. The mountain gained fame for hosting the downhill skiing events during the 1964 and 1976 Winter Olympics. It remains a landmark for navigation in the Innsbruck area. Maintain a safe altitude above the summit, as local winds can create unpredictable turbulence near the peak. Identify the mountain by the large television transmitter tower located near the summit. At your current heading of 90 degrees, the peak is located to your immediate right. You will pass it in approximately 1 to 2 minutes at your current ground speed. Use the Pacherkofel transmitter as a visual reference point when navigating the southern edge of the Inn Valley. Pacherkofel is a prominent mountain south of Innsbruck, famous for its distinctive radio tower and panoramic views of the Inn Valley. The mountain gained international fame as the site of the downhill skiing events during the 1964 and 1976 Winter Olympics held in Innsbruck. Maintain a safe altitude above the peak to avoid downdrafts. Near the slopes, always check local weather as mountain winds can change rapidly. Look for the large, white radio transmission tower situated near the summit, which stands out against the alpine terrain. At your current heading of 126 degrees, the mountain is located to your right rear. At 222 kT, you will pass the general vicinity of the peak within 2-3 minutes. Use the Pacherkofel summit as a reliable navigation waypoint when transitioning from the Inn Valley toward the higher alpine regions. The Alper is a prominent mountain in the Tux Alps, reaching an elevation of 3,476 meters. It is famous for its jagged, pyramid-like appearance and its popularity among mountaineers. First ascended in the 19th century, the peak has long been a focal point for alpine exploration in the Zillertal region. It remains a significant landmark for climbers due to its challenging ridges. Maintain a safe distance from the peak to avoid downdrafts. Always monitor your altitude relative to the 11,400 ft summit elevation. Look for a sharp, triangular rocky peak that stands out significantly from the surrounding ridgeline. It is often snow-dusted even in summer months. At your current heading of 133 degrees and 8,606 ft, the Alper will be visible to your right side. You will pass abeam the peak in approximately 1.5 minutes. Use the Alper as a visual waypoint to orient yourself before turning toward the lower valleys. The contrast between the dark rock and surrounding glaciers makes for excellent photography. Ziller River. The Ziller is a significant river flowing through the Zillertal Valley, eventually joining the Inn River. Its path defines the main corridor for navigation through this mountainous region. The river has historically served as a natural boundary and a source of power for local mills and sawmills. It remains the central artery for the valley's infrastructure and tourism industry. Use the river as a visual reference for your approach path, but be mindful of the high-tension power lines that often cross valley floors. Identify the river by the winding, light-colored gravel beds and the distinct blue-green water snaking through the valley floor. The river is currently directly beneath and slightly to your left. Given your 271 km ground speed, you will cross the river's path in seconds. Following the river is a classic VFR technique in the Alps, but always maintain a safe altitude above the valley floor to count for unexpected downdrafts. Zillertal Valley. The Zillertal is a major valley in Tyrol, known for its steep glacial carving and steep mountain walls. It serves as a primary artery for tourism and agriculture in the region. The valley was historically shaped by the Ziller River and has been inhabited since the Bronze Age. It became a significant transit route for trade between the Inn Valley and the Italian border. Maintain a safe altitude above the valley floor to avoid downdrafts near the steep slopes. Always monitor your terrain clearance closely. Look for the wide, flat valley floor flanked by high, jagged peaks. The Ziller River winds through the center, appearing as a bright, reflective ribbon. At your current altitude of 4,698 ft and heading up 90 degrees, the valley floor will be visible slightly to your left and head. You will reach the center of the valley in approximately 1 minute. Follow the valley floor for a scenic route, but be prepared for rapid changes in wind direction due to the mountain topography. Großglockner. The Großglockner is the highest mountain in Austria, standing at 3,798 meters. It is a prominent pyramid-shaped peak located in the Hohe Tauern range. First ascended in 1800, the peak has been a focal point for mountaineering history in the Alps. It is named for its bell-like shape, with Glockner derived from the German word for bell. Maintain a safe distance from the peak due to unpredictable mountain rotors and downdrafts. Always observe minimum safe altitude requirements for mountainous terrain. Look for the highest, most distinct pyramid-shaped peak in the region, often covered in snow and ice year-round. At your current altitude of 5,010 ft and heading of 173 degrees, the peak is located slightly to your left. You will reach the vicinity in approximately 3 minutes at your current ground speed of 185 km. Use the Großglockner as a primary navigation reference, but be aware that the surrounding terrain rises rapidly. Plan your climb profile accordingly. Großglockner. The Großglockner is the highest mountain in Austria, standing at 3,798 meters. It is a prominent pyramid-shaped peak surrounded by the Pastors Glacier. First ascended in 1,800, the peak has been a focal point for mountaineering history in the Alps. It is named after its bell-like shape, with Glockner meaning bell ringer. Maintain a safe distance from the peak due to unpredictable mountain winds and downdrafts. Always adhere to minimum safe altitude requirements for the terrain. Look for the highest, most distinct pyramid-shaped peak in the range, often capped with permanent snow and ice. At your current altitude of 11,464 ft and heading of 94 degrees, the Großglockner will appear slightly to your right. You will reach the vicinity in approximately 2 minutes at your current ground speed. Use the peak as a primary navigation reference for the Tauern region, but be wary of the rapid weather changes common around high summits. Großglockner. The Großglockner is the highest mountain in Austria, standing at 3,798 meters. It is a prominent peak in the Tauern range, known for its iconic pyramid shape. First ascended in 1,800, the peak has been a centerpiece of Austrian mountaineering history. It remains a major destination for climbers and tourists visiting the Tauern National Park. Maintain a safe distance from the peak due to unpredictable mountain turbulence and downdrafts. Always adhere to minimum safe altitude regulations in mountainous terrain. Look for the highest, sharpest pyramid-shaped peak in the region, often surrounded by glaciers. Its distinct double peak structure is visible from many miles away. At your current heading of 333 degrees and 328 kT, the peak is located to your starboard side. You will pass the vicinity of the mountain in approximately 1.5 minutes. Use the Großglockner High Alpine Road as a visual reference for navigation, but stay well clear of the surrounding ridges to avoid terrain conflicts. Zeller River. The Zeller is a major tributary of the Inn River, carving a deep path through the Zellertal Valley. It is the lifeblood of the region, supporting local agriculture and tourism. The river has historically been prone to flooding, leading to significant engineering projects in the 19th and 20th centuries to stabilize its banks and protect valley settlements. Maintain your current descent profile and monitor for mountain rotors near the valley floor. Always adhere to minimum safe altitude requirements over populated areas. Look for the winding, light-colored riverbed that snakes through the center of the valley floor, contrasting with the dark green forests. At 3,481 ft and a heading of 223 degrees, the river will be directly below and slightly to your left. You will cross the main channel in approximately 45 seconds at 117 kt. Follow the river upstream to navigate deeper into the Zellertal Alps, but be mindful of the rising terrain on both sides of the valley.
Kriml. Kriml is a municipality in Zell am See district, in the federal state of Salzburg, Austria, in the Pinsko region. Kriml Waterfalls. The Kriml Waterfalls, German, Krimmweiler Wasserfall, with a total height of 380 meters, 1,247 feet, are the highest waterfall in Austria. The falls are on the Krimmweiler Ake River and are located near the village of Kriml in the Hightower National Park in Salzburg State.
Kaprun. Kaprun is a picturesque village famous for its proximity to the Kitzsteinhorn Glacier and the Hightower National Park. It is a major center for year-round mountain sports. Kaprun has evolved from a small farming community into a major international resort. It is historically significant for the massive hydroelectric power projects constructed in the mid-20th century. Be aware of rapidly changing mountain weather and potential downdrafts near the high peaks. Observe the minimum safe altitude requirements over the village. Identify the village by the large hydroelectric dams and reservoirs located in the high valleys to the south. The village itself sits at the base of the steep mountain slopes. You are currently approaching the Capron area at 4,332 ft. The village will appear to your right in about 3 minutes as you maintain your easterly track. Use the Capron Valley as a reference point when navigating toward the high alpine passes. The contrast between the green valley and the snow-capped glacier is a perfect landmark. The castle served as a defensive fortification and administrative seat for local nobility. It has undergone several renovations throughout the centuries, while retaining its original structural footprint. Ensure you remain clear of the castle structure to avoid turbulence caused by the surrounding ridge lines. Respect local airspace regulations regarding historical sites. Identify the castle by its elevated position on a rocky spur overlooking the valley floor. The stone walls contrast against the surrounding green slopes. The castle will be visible to your right-hand side shortly after passing Matre. Given your high ground speed, keep a sharp lookout as it will be beam your position very quickly. Use the castle as a visual waypoint to orient yourself before turning toward the higher peaks of the Hoftowen range. Capron is a picturesque village located at the foot of the Kitzsteinhorn Glacier. It is famous for its high-altitude skiing and the massive hydroelectric power plants nearby. Historically a small farming community, Capron transformed into a major tourism center after the construction of the Tauern Power Station in the mid-20th century. The village has preserved its traditional alpine architecture despite rapid growth. Be aware of strong mountain downdrafts near the valley walls. Ensure you maintain sufficient terrain clearance as you approach the higher peaks. Identify the village by the large industrial structures of the power plants and the steep, snow-capped slopes of the Kitzsteinhorn rising directly behind it. Capron will appear slightly to your left of the nose within 60 seconds. At 264 kT, you will pass the village quickly, so prepare for a rapid change in perspective. Use the power lines and the distinct valley shape as a guide to navigate safely through the narrow mountain passes toward the south.
Großglockner Mountain. The Großglockner is, At 3,798 meters above the Adriatic,
the
the highest mountain in Austria and the highest mountain in
standing
the
at
Alps east of the Brenner Pass.
3,798 meters.
It is part of the
It is a
larger
prominent
Glockner group
pyramid-shaped
of the Hohe
peak
Tauern range,
located on the border
situated
between
along the main
Carinthia
ridge of
and
the Central
Salzburg.
Eastern
First
Alps and the
ascended
Alpine
in
Divide.
1800,
The
the peak
Pasters,
has been a focal
Austria's
point
most
for
extended
mountaineering
glacier,
history in
lies
the
on the
Alps.
Grossglockner's
It is named
eastern
for its
slope.
bell-like shape, with Glockner derived from the German word for bell. Maintain a safe distance from the peak due to unpredictable mountain winds and rotor turbulence. Always ensure you are well above the summit elevation before attempting any maneuvers. Look for the highest, most distinct pyramid-shaped peak in the region, often capped with significant snow and ice year-round. At your current altitude of 11,086 ft and heading of 106 degrees, the Grossglockner will appear to your right front. You will reach the closest point of approach in approximately 1.5 minutes at your current ground speed. Use the Grossglockner as a primary navigation reference for the Hohe Tauern region, but keep a sharp lookout for other aircraft following the popular scenic routes around the massif. Sea Airport Lows, a scenic regional airport nestled in the valley floor adjacent to Lake Zell. It serves as a primary gateway for general aviation and mountain flying enthusiasts in the Salzburg region. The airfield has long been a hub for alpine aviation and glider operations. It is famously known for its challenging approach due to the surrounding high terrain. Maintain strict adherence to the published approach procedures. Be aware of the high descent rate and ensure you are configured for landing well before the threshold. Look for the paved runway strip running parallel to the southern shore of Lake Zell. The airport is surrounded by green fields and is easily identified by the proximity to the town center. At your current altitude of 5,383 ft and heading of 16 degrees, the airport is located approximately 2 nm ahead and slightly to your right. You will reach the vicinity in less than 1 minute at your current ground speed dot when flying the circuit. Keep a sharp lookout for other light aircraft and gliders which are common in this valley. Always respect the noise abatement procedures for the town of Zell am See. Zell am See, a picturesque town nestled between the Zeller See Lake and the Schmittenher Mountain. It is a world-renowned tourist destination famous for its alpine scenery. The town has roots dating back to the 8th century when it was founded by monks. It gained prominence as a resort town in the 19th century following the arrival of the railway. Maintain a safe altitude above the town and respect noise abatement procedures. Always monitor local airspace for paragliders near the mountain slopes. Look for the large, deep blue lake surrounded by dense urban development on its Western Shore, the town's historic church spire is a prominent landmark. At your current altitude of 3,177 ft and heading of 258 degrees, the town is located slightly to your right. You will pass abeam the lake in approximately 1.5 minutes at your current ground speed. Orbiting the lake provides a stunning perspective of the transition from valley floor to high alpine peaks. Ensure you remain clear of the rising terrain to the west.
Fusker Ake. The Fusker Ake is a river of Salzburg, Austria, a right tributary of the river Salzach. The Fusker Ake rises as the confluence of the Kiefertalbach and the Traunerbach near the Fusker Turl at a height of about 2,500 m.a. in the lower Pinzgau. It flows from south to north through the valley of the same name, passing the small village of Fuschender Großglocknerstrasse. It supplies a drinking water reservoir for the village, its water quality being very high. It is rich in fish such as brown trout, grayling, and char. After about 28 kilometers 17 miles it empties into the Salzach at Bruckender Großglocknerstrasse.
Kaprun Valley, the deep glacial valley leading toward the Kitzsteinhorn Glacier. It is known for its hydroelectric power plants and stunning, high alpine scenery. The valley became internationally famous in the mid-20th century due to the construction of the massive Kaprun high-altitude reservoirs, which were vital for Austria's post-war energy recovery. Watch for rapidly changing weather conditions and turbulence. When entering the narrow valley, ensure you have a clear exit path. Look for the deep, U-shaped valley opening up to the southwest, flanked by steep, rocky slopes leading toward the glaciated peaks. The valley entrance is approximately 30 degrees to your right. You will be abeam the mouth of the valley in about 2 minutes at your current ground speed. The valley offers a spectacular route for scenic flight, but always keep an eye on your terrain clearance as the valley floor rises significantly toward the glacier. Pasters Glacier. The Pasters is the longest glacier in the Eastern Alps, stretching approximately 8 kilometers. It lies directly at the foot of the Großglockner mountain. The glacier has been extensively studied since the 19th century, serving as a key indicator for climate change research in the Alps. Its retreat has been documented annually for over 100 years. Avoid flying directly into the glacial valley at low altitudes to prevent getting trapped by rising terrain. Keep your eyes on the horizon and monitor your vertical speed closely. Identify the massive, tongue-shaped expanse of ice and moraine debris nestled in the valley below the Großglockner. The distinct blue-white color of the ice contrasts sharply with the surrounding dark rock. The glacier is located slightly to your right. Given your current speed, you will pass the main body of the ice field in about 1.8 minutes. The Pasters offers a spectacular view of glacial dynamics. Plan your flight path to orbit the area at a safe altitude to appreciate the scale of the ice flow. Heiligensblatt am Großglockner, a picturesque mountain village situated at the foot of the Großglockner. It is famous for its iconic church spire, which is frequently photographed against the backdrop of the high peaks. The village has deep roots in the history of alpine transit and mining. Its name, meaning holy blood, is tied to local legends regarding a relic brought to the village in the 10th century. Be mindful of the valley floor elevation. Ensure you have a clear path for a climb out if necessary. Observe local noise abatement procedures if flying at lower altitudes. Identify the village by the distinct, slender spire of the St. Vincent Church, which stands out against the valley floor. It is nestled in a deep valley surrounded by steep slopes. At your current heading of 98 degrees, the village is located to your right. You will pass a beam this location shortly as you continue your current flight path. Following the Merle Valley provides a natural and scenic route for VFR navigation through this mountainous region, keeping the village as a reliable waypoint. Pastors Glacier. The Pastors is the longest glacier in Austria and the Eastern Alps. It sits directly at the foot of the Großglockner. The glacier has been retreating significantly since the 19th century due to climate changes. It remains a vital subject for glaciological research. Be aware of the high terrain surrounding the glacier. Do not descend below the mountain ridges while observing the ice field. Identify a massive, elongated tongue of ice and moraine debris nestled in the valley floor beneath the Großglockner massif. The glacier is situated to your right. Given your high ground speed of 311 kT, it will pass out of your primary viewing window in seconds. Glaciers often create unique lighting conditions. Use polarized sunglasses, if available, to better distinguish the ice textures from surrounding rock. Obervillach. Obervillach is a historic market town nestled in the Merle Valley, known for its traditional architecture and proximity to the Rageschlucht Gorge. The town has deep roots in the medieval mining industry, particularly gold and silver mining, which brought significant wealth to the region during the 16th century. Maintain a safe altitude above the valley floor and be mindful of the rising terrain to the north and south. Look for a cluster of buildings with distinct alpine style roofs situated at the confluence of the Merle and Durlach rivers. At your current heading of 123 degrees and 275 kT, Obervillach will pass off your right wing in approximately 45 seconds. Follow the course of the Merle River to navigate through the valley. It provides a natural and scenic VFR corridor. Heiligenblatt am Großglockner, a picturesque village nestled at the foot of the Großglockner, known for its iconic church spire set against the dramatic mountain backdrop. The village has served as a base for alpine travelers for centuries. Its name, meaning holy blood, is tied to local legends dating back to the Middle Ages. Be mindful of noise abatement procedures over residential areas. Ensure you are well above the village elevation before maneuvering. Identify the village by the sharp, eagle-like spire of the St. Vincent Church, which stands out against the valley floor. The village is situated to your left. At 179 kT, you will pass the village area in roughly 2 minutes. Follow the Merle River Valley to navigate safely toward this village, keeping the terrain to your right as you climb. Angkojal. Angkojal is a prominent mountain in the Hochtauern range, standing at 3,252 meters. It is a popular destination for mountaineers and skiers, known for its dramatic alpine scenery. The peak was first ascended in the 18th century. It has long been a focal point for alpine tourism in the Carinthia region, with early cable car in 9 degrees. The peak will appear slightly to your left. You will reach the vicinity of the summit in approximately 1.5 minutes at your current ground speed. Use the Angkojal as a primary navigation waypoint to orient yourself toward the Gastine Valley. The surrounding glaciers provide excellent visual contrast for navigation. The Großglockner. The glacier has been retreating significantly since the mid-19th century due to climate changes. It remains a critical subject for glaciological research in the Alps. Be aware of changing wind patterns near the glacier surface. Ensure you maintain sufficient terrain clearance at all times. Identify a vast, elongated field of ice and moraine debris nestled in the valley, directly below the Großglockner. The distinct gray-white texture contrasts sharply with the surrounding rock. The glacier will appear to your right shortly after passing the Großglockner. Your current altitude of 11,252 ft provides a clear view of the entire ice flow. Follow the valley floor leading up to the glacier for a dramatic approach. The scale of the ice field is best appreciated from your current high-altitude perspective. Pastors Glacier. The Pastors is the longest glacier in the Eastern Alps, situated directly at the foot of the Grossglockner. It is a massive river of ice that has been retreating significantly over the last century. The glacier was once much larger, reaching down into the valley, but historical records show a steady decline since the mid-19th century. It serves as a stark indicator of regional climate changes. Avoid flying directly over the glacier at low altitudes to prevent noise disturbance and potential turbulence caused by the cold air mass over the ice. Identify a large, elongated tongue of ice and moraine debris nestled in the valley floor directly beneath the Grossglockner. Peak. The glacier is currently to your left rear. At your current speed, you will pass the general vicinity of the glacier within a few minutes of flight time. The contrast between the white ice and the dark surrounding rock makes this an excellent landmark for visual orientation in the Haut-Tauern area.
Riesek, mountain. The Riesek, also Grosses Riesek, Great Riesek, is, at 2,965 meters above the Adriatic, 9,728 feet, the highest peak of the Riesek group in the high tower of
Pastors
Carinthia,
Glacier. The Pastors
Austria.
is the longest
The
glacier in
range
the
forms the
Eastern
southern
Alps,
part of the
stretching
larger
approximately
Ankogel
8
group with its
kilometers.
highest summit,
It lies
the
directly at the foot of the Grossglockner.
separated
The
by the
glacier has been
COL of
retreating
Malnitzer Shark at
significantly since the mid-19th century
2,673
due to
meters,
climate change. It remains one of the
8,770
most
feet.
studied glacial
The mountain
environments
also
in
gives its
Europe.
name to the
Be
Riesek
mindful of the
municipality,
rapidly changing weather
located to the south in
conditions
the Mal
near the
Valley.
glacier surface.
The
Avoid
name Riesek
flying
is
directly
derived
into
from an
deep
old
glacial
water body
valleys
name,
where
something like
visibility can
Reisach
drop
equals
suddenly.
mountain stream or
Identify the
torrent,
glacier by
which
its
became the
massive,
Middle High
hull-like
German
expanse of
RIS
ice and
equals the
moraine
falling
debris.
one.
It appears as a
West and
bright,
south of the
textured
summit
white
block
and
lie the
gray feature
reservoirs of the
nestled
Verbund
between
Riesek
steep
Protec
mountain
hydropower
walls. The
group,
glacier is situated
connected
to
with
your
the neighboring
right. Given your
Conbrin Dam
current
in the
ground
Malta
speed
Valley.
of 249
The Riesek
kT, you
Railway,
will pass the main
Riesek
body
Bog,
of the glacier in
funicular
about
and the
3-5
narrow-gauge
minutes.
Riesek
The
Mountain
contrast
Railway,
between the dark
built in the
rock faces
1950s
and
for
the
the
bright
construction
ice
of the
makes for
power
excellent
station,
photography.
later ran
Approach from the
passenger
north to get the
services
best
and was
view
used
of the
for the
glacier's
access of
full length.
tourists from the Mal Valley up to the Alpine Huts. Operations on both lines ceased in 2014/2016 and were not resumed so far. The Riesek Hut, built in 1908 and managed by the OGB section of the Austrian Alpine Club, is located at 2,287 meters 7,503 feet in the immediate vicinity of the former Skoberboden top station, right below the dam of the Grosser Mulde, Riesek Group. The Riesek Group or Riesek Group, German, Riesekgruppe, is a small mountain sub-range in the Austrian state of Carinthia. As the southern part of the Ankogel Group, it belongs to the High Tauern range of the Central Eastern Alps.
Myrtle Valley. The Myrtle is a deep, U-shaped glacial valley carved by the Merle River. It serves as a major transit corridor through the Hochtauern Mountains. The valley has been inhabited since ancient times, serving as a vital trade route between the north and south of the Alps. It is known for its traditional farming villages. Be aware of valley winds and potential turbulence when flying. At lower altitudes, monitor your vertical speed closely during your descent into the valley floor. Identify the deep, green-carpeted trench winding through the mountains. The river creates a distinct silver ribbon reflecting the sunlight against the dark valley floor. The valley is currently beneath and slightly to your left. Given your descent rate of nearly 9,000 ft/min, you will be at valley floor level in less than a minute. Follow the course of the Merle River to navigate safely through the valley. It provides a clear path that avoids the highest peaks while offering stunning views of the slopes. Malnitz is a picturesque alpine village nestled in a high valley within the Hochtauern National Park. It serves as a gateway to numerous hiking trails and winter sports areas. The village has long been a transit point for travelers crossing the Alps. It gained prominence with the construction of the Tauern Railway Tunnel, which connects the valley to the north. Be mindful of noise abatement procedures when flying near populated areas. Ensure you maintain sufficient terrain clearance at all times. Identify the village by the cluster of traditional alpine buildings situated in a flat valley floor surrounded by steep, forested slopes. With your current heading of 94 degrees, Malnitz will appear to your right. You will pass the vicinity of the village in approximately 1-2 minutes at your current ground speed. The valley leading into Malnitz provides a beautiful scenic route. Follow the valley floor while keeping an eye on your altitude relative to the rising terrain. Gaeltal Valley. The Gaeltal is a major longitudinal valley in Carinthia, defined by the Gael River flowing between the Gaeltal Alps to the north and the Carnic Alps to the south. This valley has served as a vital transit route through the Alps since Roman times. It is rich in traditional farming culture and small, historic mountain villages. Be aware of potential mountain waves and turbulence when flying near the valley walls. Always maintain a buffer from the terrain, especially during gusty wind conditions. Identify the valley by the prominent river winding through the center of a wide, green corridor flanked by massive, steep mountain ranges on both sides. Given your current ground speed of 260 km and heading of 196 degrees, you are flying parallel to the valley axis. The valley floor will be visible directly beneath and slightly to your left as you continue your southerly trek. Use the Gael River as a primary navigation line. Following the river provides a clear path through the mountainous terrain, but always monitor your altitude relative to the peaks on either side. Hermager Sea. Hermager is the central town of the Gaeltal Valley, situated near the beautiful Pressager Sea, known as the bathtub of the Gaeltal. It serves as a major hub for tourism in the region. The area has been settled since Roman times, with the town name derived from St. Hermagoras. It historically served as a vital trade route crossing between Carinthia and Italy. Maintain a safe altitude above the surrounding ridgelines. Be aware of mountain wave turbulence near the peaks. Look for a distinct, elongated blue lake nestled in the valley floor, with the town of Hermager located just to the west of the water body. At your current heading of 144 degrees and 285 kT, you will reach the vicinity of Hermager in approximately 5 minutes. The town will appear slightly to your right as you continue your descent. Follow the course of the Gale River to navigate through the valley. It provides a clear visual reference for maintaining orientation in this mountainous terrain. Werthersee is the largest lake in Carinthia and one of the warmest alpine lakes in Europe. It is famous for its turquoise water and the surrounding lush green hills. The lake has been a popular destination for the Austrian aristocracy since the 19th century. Many historic villas and castles were built along its shores. During the Belle Epoque era, maintain your current altitude of 4,252 ft to enjoy the panoramic views. Always adhere to local noise abatement procedures and minimum safe altitude requirements over populated areas. Look for a large, elongated body of water with a distinct turquoise hue. Stands out clearly against the surrounding forested terrain. At your current heading of 115 degrees and ground speed of 277 kT, the lake will appear slightly to your left in approximately 1 minute. You are well positioned for a clear view of the northern shoreline. Follow the shoreline to identify the various towns like Velden or Perchach. It serves as an excellent visual waypoint for navigation in the Klagenfurt Basin.
About 16.5 kilometers long and 1.5 kilometers wide, and stretches from the outskirts of the Carinthian capital Klagenfurt in the east to the Bay of Velden in the west. Situated within the Klagenfurt Basin, its shores are flanked to the north and south by the foothills of the Gurktal Alps and the Karawanks Range, all covered with dense forests beyond which snow-capped alpine peaks are visible. The lake's water is of a distinctive blue-green color and transparent.
Werthersee Wörthersee is the largest lake in Carinthia, known for its turquoise water and Mediterranean climate. It is a popular destination for summer tourism and water sports. The lake was formed during the last glacial period. In the 19th century, it became a fashionable retreat for the Austrian aristocracy, and the imperial family maintain a safe
Wörthersee
altitude
Stadium,
above the water and avoid
Klagenfurt.
low-level
This
maneuvers
is a
over
Microsoft
populated
Flight Simulator
shorelines.
enhanced point
Observe
of
all
interest.
local noise abatement
Wörthersee
procedures.
Stadium is
Look
a
for a
multi-purpose
large,
stadium in
elongated body
Klagenfurt,
of water extending
Austria.
to the west of your
It is
current
the home
position.
ground of
Its
Austria
distinct
Klagenfurt.
turquoise color is
The
easily
stadium is
identifiable
situated
against
within the
the
Sport Park
surrounding green
Klagenfurt
terrain.
campus of
At
several
your
other
current
sports
heading of
venues.
91 degrees and
Its
ground
name refers
speed
to
of
the nearby
282
Wörthersee Lake.
kt. The lake is situated to your right and slightly behind you. You will pass the eastern tip of the lake within seconds. Follow the shoreline westward for a scenic tour of the lakeside villas and the town of Velden if your flight path permits.
Klagenfurt Airport, Klagenfurt. MSFS Enhanced Airport. Klagenfurt Airport is a primary international airport near Klagenfurt, the sixth largest city in Austria. It is located in the borough of Annabekel, 1.5 nanometers north-northeast of the city center.
Klagenfurt Airport Loc. Klagenfurt Airport is the primary gateway to the Carinthia region of Austria. It serves both commercial and general aviation traffic with a single paved runway. The airport was established in 1925 and has served as a key transport hub for the region for nearly a century. It has undergone several expansions to accommodate modern aviation standards. Monitor the tower frequency closely and maintain a stabilized approach. Ensure you adhere to the published noise abatement procedures. Look for the long, paved runway oriented east-west, surrounded by taxiways and terminal buildings on the north side. At your current heading of 218 degrees and altitude of 2,796 ft, the airport is located slightly to your left and ahead. You will arrive over the threshold in approximately 1.5 minutes at your current ground speed. Use the airport as your primary navigation reference for the final leg of your flight. Keep an eye out for other traffic in the pattern.